Good morning. This is Monica. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Good
Boy,
morning.
you look so beautiful, Sheila.
Aw, thank you.
Right now, I'm wrestling with my little kitten who keeps trying to take my phone.
Oh, well,
Oh my gosh. Stop it. Okay, I'm going to unmute myself again. If I can figure out how to.
hey, everybody. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
All right. So before we get on with things, I want to say that there will be no spiritual cafe at the end today because most likely we're going to take the whole time for the candle lighting. So, but before we get into all of that, I want to take a moment of silence, and I'd like for you all to join me, if you will. We just received news this morning that Mary Ann Kane had a heart attack last night. She is stable this morning. She's in her hospital bed. They have her drugged so that her blood pressure has gone back down. And she's waiting for the cardiologist right now, but she may be tuning in. So if she's able to do that, that's a good sign. So just wanted to take a moment of silence and prayers and say that we hold Marianne and her significant other, John Friend, and her daughter, Jessica, in our hearts and in our prayers, knowing that every fiber in her being, every cell is infused with the divine light and healing, the divine wisdom and understanding, the divine love, and knowing that the mighty work is already going on as we speak. And so it is. So I know that was probably as much a shock to you all as it was to me. So I just wanted to take a moment for us to hold her in our hearts and our prayers. I will send around a prayer circle chain in your emails, and I'll update you later. So let's please not inundate her with phone calls or anything on Facebook yet until we find out a little more, and then I'll update you later. Cool?
Yeah, in fact, she didn't really want it out on Facebook yet. She said it was okay to put it out in this format, but
well, it's out on Facebook now because we're live, and I don't know if she's no, but she didn't want a big headline on her Facebook page. So yeah. So we're with you, Marianne. I don't know if she's tuned in, but hope you hear us and hope you feel our hearts sending you good, positive, loving, healing energy. So, Unity of Stockton, oneness, mind, body, and spirit, a positive path for spiritual living. Today, we have our Christmas candle lighting service, and I want to remind you that you are Christmas. I'll talk more about that, how that is, in a moment. So, I want to share with you just a moment, a greeting card. Let's see, I think I'm going to have to go out of sharing this, that I received this morning, because it's just perfect. So, well, wait a minute. Let me get back to where I was. Isn't that just beautiful? Oh. So just remembering that as we go into Advent, this is the fourth Sunday of Advent, and this Sunday is all about joy Advent is a time of spiritual preparation for Christmas. And if we do the work each day of Advent, from the first one that was faith and hope, and then peace, and then love last Sunday, and then we are really ready to experience the joy of knowing that we know that the Christ Spirit indwells within each and every one of us and in everything. And that's what the birth of Christ came to tell us, that we are just like him. So knowing that when we light our candles, that light comes from the Christ indwelling candle that is in each of us already. And it's just waiting there, ready for us to acknowledge it, to ask for it, to claim it, and to experience it, just waiting for us to do that. And when we do the Advent spiritual preparation, we're really ready to experience the joy that comes with the realization of the truth of your being. So remembering that's where the light comes from. A little bit about joy before we get into the candle lighting. Advent means beginning. It allows us time and space to nurture a fragile new understanding of who we truly are, as tenderly as we would care for a new baby. And Christmas represents the divine child born in each of us and the divine attributes that we can develop as we learn to express our true nature, our God nature, that part of us in human form. And the 4 Sundays of Advent proclaim aspects of that divine nature, the faith and hope, the peace, the love, and the joy. So take a moment before we get into this to find out if you have a candle ready, or a flashlight on your phone, or a lighter, or if you downloaded an app on your phone, which I downloaded on mine, Candlelight app. Well, I did have it downloaded. I did. So you go to your virtual candle in your app store and open a virtual candle. Take a moment to do that, if you haven't already. There, I see somebody has it. Thank you. I don't have to show mine now. Whoever's showing that, looks like Sylvia maybe? Okay, so we'll be using that a little later in the session. I just wanted to give you a moment now to get that ready. Oh, thank you, Tim. That's Tim's red shirt showing there. Okay, so we'll be ready when we get ready for that. So make a joyful noise. When we use the Advent time before Christmas to get into the divine spirit of the season, we're better able to fully experience the final aspect of joy. So we're nearing the countdown as we remind ourselves of the spiritual truth of this season. The hope is that a sense of oneness with divine spirit awakens in you, and a knowing of yourself as holy too. We all have a holy aspect to us too. So I was asking a friend of mine, Israel Hurtado. Israel, I think you're here. A few years ago, I said, Israel, what in the midst of our conversation, I don't know how we got to this, but I was going through a rough time, and I said, what is joy? And he says, well, and he began to tell me all the synonyms: bliss, gladness, happiness, warm fuzzies, elation, exhilaration, exultation, euphoria, delight, cheerfulness, exuberance, glee, jubilation, lightheartedness, merry and bright, heaven on earth in our hearts. I said, yeah, I know that in my head. But what does it feel like? What is the experience of joy? Is it one of those things like love and God that we can't really describe? We can only experience it. I mean, we can try to put words on it, but human words just don't quite, they aren't sufficient to name the experience and what it's like. And I was in a hard time, and I was having trouble remembering a time in my life when I had experienced joy. What does that feel like? Well, for some of us, maybe it's easier to go from the antonyms, going in the back door like we often do. We don't really wake up until we're in a hard time, a difficult time. So going in the back door, the antonyms were misery and sadness and unhappiness and downheartedness and sorrow and hell within my own being, within my own heart. To the point where in your middle of a challenge like that, it's hard for you to remember a time when you did experience that joy, that divine joy that comes with knowing who you truly are. I know. And so it took me a while, and I thought, well, there was this one time when I was a kid, and it was dusk and a starry night and a big full moon, and I was rolling down the hillside in our yard and giggling out loud. Yes, I experienced joy that time. And once I could remember one time, then I remembered another time and another time and another time and more recent times. So sometimes it's just not so easy to really get to that place. And that's human joy, but what about divine joy? That's a whole different ballgame, And what a deep blessing. What a blessing to feel that deep joy, the kind of joy in your heart where your heart could burst with fullness. You know that joy, where your body shimmers with quiet excitement. And the world feels more colorful, more alive, where it feels like all good things are possible. Those times when we experience it like that. All right. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Wow, my slide's not working. Oh, what a shame, because You looking for it, Tim? I don't know how long I need to stay on this. Oh, enable content. Okay, I got it. Is it showing on the screen yet?
No, I think you need to share it.
Okay. Here we go. Oh, did you see the children enjoying that? I'm trying to get out of that to the next slide. The children were enjoying it, and I got up to a crescendo. Is that what you call it? A crescendo, you musicians out there, of joy. And the children were dancing and conducting. And, you know, we may ask, well, how do I get that divine joy? How do I get there when I'm in the middle of challenge? And we've certainly had plenty of them lately. Have you? Okay. So there's lots of ways. I mean, we can practice getting into gratitude and appreciation for the small things. And it's like a muscle that once you practice it, it becomes more natural. And the more you are in gratitude and appreciation, the more joy you experience. It just comes naturally. We can go and do our spiritual practices like prayer, meditation, spiritual readings, all those spiritual practices you do. But most of all, right now, I want to focus on being more like a child, like those children in that flash mob that were just enjoying the sheer joy of the music. And from Matthew 18, verse 3, truly I tell you, unless you change and become like little children, you will never enter into the kingdom of heaven. And what are we talking about when we say the kingdom of heaven? We're talking about right here, right now, our beingness in our heart, right in this moment. And we can experience the joy and the love of the kingdom of heaven right now when we become like little children. So he's an author and a Methodist minister. I believe he's a minister, Steve Goodyear, maybe. And he tells about a story about when his kids were little, they used to traditionally go to this year-round Christmas resort that was called North Pole at Pikes Peak. And there was a Santa there that he said was as close to the real Santa as you could get. And there was a twinkle in his eye. And that Santa told them one time, you know, sometimes adults want to come sit in my lap and visit Santa. No way, really? He said, yeah, one day, 14 out of the first 20 that came were adults who came to visit Santa and sit on my lap. And all of us have a child inside. And Santa told them, it's a terrible thing when you lose that. Children are so enthusiastic. They don't forget how to have fun. They know how to have a sense of awe and wonder and excitement, fun-loving, lost in the present moment, not worried about anything. There's an innocence and a trusting that's in us all that sometimes it's hard to access when we're having a hard time of it. But if we can get into an appreciation of that and become more childlike, it goes a long way toward experiencing that joy and that experience of heaven inside right now. It's not a place out in the sky. It's right here, right now. It's a way of being. And the more we do that, the quicker and better we are able to embrace the life and the love and to laugh easily often and to know, we know plenty. Children know plenty, but, and they don't have to understand. And they say it's okay not to understand everything. The mystery, as a matter of fact, feels good. It fills them with a sense of awe. So they don't worry about having to figure it all out and how to know everything. They just laugh easily and often. And just reading something from the 2018 Advent booklet. Put this in the light here. This was in 2018. We live in uncertain times. A world where people are hurting, like today. Some people, the poor, go hungry, and endless challenges arise. Competition is the order of the day. We too are in a competitive position, a competition of love and forgiveness. we let time stand still for a moment as we all breathe in the sacredness of this moment. Breathe in the sacredness of this moment and let time stand still for a moment. Who can grow in faith more? Who can share more peace? Who can love more? Who can bring more joy? I think I can. Can you? So you say, well, how, Sheila? Because I unapologetically love glitter and snowflakes and shimmering lights and all the things that sparkle, plus the endless supply of heartwarming, not in my throat Hallmark movies. And I'm also aware that our world has become increasingly complex these days. So much to it. It can seem like overwhelming chaos. Yes, the widening inequities among our social classes, the never-ending list of social injustice causes that need to be meaningfully addressed, and more divisiveness than ever for every possible reason I could think of. You might ask me then, Sheila, how can you just ignore all of that and pin words about your snow globe holiday stories and get lost in your holiday spirit? How can you do that with all that happening around you? And I will say it is precisely that holiday spirit that will help us overcome many of the problems we see in our world. For it is this very spirit that brings forth our generosity, our compassion, and our creativity. It's the feelings generated within each of us that make us want to be better human beings because of the holiday spirit. Yeah. And then from the current Christmas Advent booklet that I mailed to most of you, I don't know if you have your booklet with you, but I'm on page 48. It says, adults, you adults, read the Christmas story and note the inn without room and imagine the dusty stables where the animals were housed, the pain of the labor and the hours of travel. And in our imagination, they feel real. We've been there. Yet, who has not looked up into the sparkling night sky, awestruck by the infinite expanse and the countless lights? I'm on page 48. We feel ourselves drawn into that limitless power and imagine a host of angels and a single bright star in the sky. In these moments, we grasp the wonder of being a child and believing in possibilities. So I think you all ought to do like me. Here's what you need to do. My sock is full of socks that have teddy bears on them and ice cream cones and smiley faces. And my Christmas tree is full of ornaments that have teddy bears and smiley faces and ice cream cones. I think we all ought to do that. What do you think? To bring out that child within us. Yeah, I admit it. I'm one of those. And I know some of you are too. So I'm moving to page 43 in your new Advent booklet that I mailed out to most of you. There's a minister who wrote, his name is Kurt Kondra. He wrote at his church, The high point of our Christmas Eve service, designed especially for families with children, involves filing past a creche and peering into a manger. This being unity, instead of seeing a doll or an infant, all who look inside witness their own reflection in a mirror resting atop a pile of hay. The obvious point: Christ is born in you. And no matter what their age, the kids always seem to understand. They get it, albeit at different levels. But for example, the youngest recognize the face staring back is their own. Starting around age 6, they realize their face is the face of God. And the oldest understand God is in everyone. Now that's the follow-up lesson for adults. We grow and give birth to the Christ consciousness throughout our whole lives. If we stay awake, the meaning of Christmas continues to evolve in us, and our capacity to express the joy to give birth to the Christ consciousness becomes more powerful and more fulfilling every day. And we continue, the meaning just grows and grows and grows. Remember, like children peering into the mirrored manger, remember that whatever insights you gain as an adult are but a snapshot of your ever-expanding realization of your divine identity, your divine divinity. Now, in telling the Christmas story, the gospel writers, the writers who wrote the gospel, remind us that where things seem darkest, joy can come in unexpected places and small packages. In the presence of such joy, our inner child can awaken our Christ nature, and then the Messiah is truly born in here, in here, in here. Christmas is not an event that happens only in December or in 2,000 years ago in Palestine. Christmas happens as we open to the possibility of hope. The joy that is Christmas, the birth of the Christ consciousness, happens all the time, every minute of every day. And as the days get shorter and darkness seems to close in, we light the candle for joy, to remind ourselves of the power and presence within us. Then we celebrate the season with renewed glee. Joy to the world, the Savior is here and has been here all along. Remember that you are Christmas. Feel a spiritual rebirth in your heart. Joy to the world. So in the Gospels, the telling of the Christmas story, there's a meaning behind that goes beyond the physical story. There's a metaphysical meaning. So I just like to go in that for a minute. You know, when we adults hear the Christmas story, sometimes we get that hidden meaning and sometimes we do not. So in story, a metaphysical interpretation of the angel Gabriel that came to Mary and told her that she would have a child named Jesus. Well, it was hard for her to believe because she hadn't been in wedlock and was a virgin, but Mary represents the perfect love that fills your soul. The divine feminine in you. And that in you, which desires to see only the good in you and to every other creature of the universe. The very purest and gentlest, yet strong aspect of the love in your heart. The kindness and sweetness of your nature. And then Mary told Joseph that she was pregnant, and he couldn't believe it. He couldn't believe her. But when an angel came and told him it was true, then he understood. Joseph in you represents strength, a wisdom within you that protects and guides the love in your soul. Joseph will never desert the love in your heart, that part of you that will never desert the love in your heart, that part of you that nourishes and supports you. Would everyone mute themselves, please? While wise men heard Jesus was born, when they heard he was born, they took gifts and they were guided by a big, bright star. Let's see if I can mute everyone. Okay. So the wise men were guided by a big star. Well, I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's talk first about Jesus being born in a stable where there was no room in the inn. So the stable, the manger where Jesus was placed, is representative metaphysically of wherever you put the best in you, you make it holy. Wherever you put the best in you, you make it holy. God is just not in grand, impressive places. Think of the stable each time you are called upon to do your best in a situation that does not seem quite worthy of it. For even in the humblest of places, God is always there. There's no place where God is not. And an angel, the angel that stood by them, they didn't know what the angel was, and they were afraid. And the angel represents in you the angels who bring good tidings of great joy to you, that are in you, bringing those great tidings to you. Those radiant thoughts and feelings that come to you directly from the mind of God. They tell you of your divine self. And when the wise men heard that Jesus was born, They took gifts and they were guided by a big, bright star. That star represents your intuition. Sometimes it appears to you only as a dim flicker in your mind. But as you recognize it and follow it, it becomes brighter and more familiar, that intuition, that star within you. And it radiates light from your very heart, from your very being. That internal GPS is a gift. It's a guiding light to lead you to be the best person you can be. So the wise men themselves from the East represent all of those hidden and buried powers deep within you that you didn't even know about. The powers that help you come to know your wonderful, true self. And the gifts represent your newly discovered truths about yourself. Gold shows that you are real, you are spiritual. Frankincense shows the beauty of your true character, and myrrh shows how perfect you really are. Not looking at your human ego, but that aspect of yours that is the Christ part of you. And the trick is to align your human personality and ego with that Christ spirit, to yearn for it. The Christ child represents the sum total of all the good, which is the real you. Love in your heart, wisdom in your mind, peace in your soul. That in you blesses you, gives new meaning, a new purpose to your life. The sum total of all the good, which is the real you. And now, because of Christmas, you have realized that you are just like the Christ child, Jesus. It's all about the light that is within us. It is a light that burns and reaffirms we are alive. That live energy of life, that Christ energy, that God energy of life is who you are. It's in you. We are together and we are one. It's in all of us. In the old 2018 booklet, I just want to say one thing, and that is we remember the divine presence that is born into every human being. The flame of life breathes through us out into the world. It is passed on. It is our charge to do so. I don't know if Mary's on today, but 2 years ago, she blessed us with her rendition of O Holy Night. Let's have a look.
Stars are brightly shining. It is the night of our dear Savior's birth. Long lay the world in sin and error pining, till He appears and the soul felt its worth.
Such a pure, sweet voice. And did you see Melissa's fingers flowing on those piano keys with the flair? Did you even notice that? Such a pure, sweet voice. Okay, we're about ready to go into our candle lighting, and I'd like to do a short meditation first to get us into the spirit in our hearts. So I'd like it if you would just take a moment to relax and take a few deep breaths and let go of anything that's keeping you from being able to enjoy this quiet silence, time of silence for meditation. I'd like to invite you to drop down into your heart and just focus on that heart, that big, beautiful heart. And breathe through the heart as if you could breathe through the heart, focusing, breathing through your heart. Deep breathing, rhythmic breathing, normal breathing through the heart. We give thanks for the greatest gift, and that is the Christ love that is born in us, in you, in me. We experience a renewed awareness of compassion, of understanding, of oneness. Oneness with divine spirit, oneness with God, oneness with each other, oneness with every other creature and everything. We rekindle our dedication to being a peaceful presence. We affirm goodwill to all as we envision the earth and its inhabitants living in peace. We discover that our greatest joy is knowing and feeling the presence of God within us, within you, within me, the presence of God. We recognize and rejoice in God's presence in us and see it in everyone we meet. We know that joy is always present and can be called into expression at every moment. God is joy, and joy is God. God is love, and love is God. Our journey has brought us once again to the Christ child, both to give from our heart and to receive the greatest love of all. And as you begin coming back into this room, let's listen to Sylvia Barnhart singing Silent Night, as she did so beautifully several years ago in our Unity community. Another pure, sweet voice. Here we go.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sylvia. Thank you so much. You truly are a gifted human being, spiritual being. Okay, now we'll be ready to light our candles. So you have your app. I have my app. You have yours, or your candle, or your flashlight, or your lighter. Everybody, take a moment to light your candle. And I would like to remind you, just remember the lighting of your candle comes directly from the Christ light that is already within you, waiting for you to recognize the flame within yourself. Take a moment of silence to get into the feeling of that, the experiencing of that truth as we show our candles on screen so that we can see the magnificence of it all. The lighting of your candle comes directly from the Christ light that is already within you, waiting for you to realize the flame within yourself. To realize it, to know that you know that you know. Waiting for you to claim it, to claim the flame that's already there. Waiting for you to kindle that flame that is already within you. Waiting for you to experience it. Lift your candle like you might lift a wine glass when you click it against the glass of another to send a message of cheer and celebration. So lifting to clink our candles with each other, to send a message of cheer and celebration to another, to recognize the Christ consciousness in them and in ourselves, to salute the Christ consciousness within ourselves and within every other human being and every other creature and every other thing, to honor the Christ consciousness in us and in everyone else. And then bring it home. Bring your candle home. Back to the area right there by your heart, in front of your heart. Hold it there for a moment. Experiencing the realization of coming home, of that fire in your belly, that life in your belly. That God energy that is life, and that is love, and that is wisdom, and that is understanding, and that is peace, and that is joy. Right back into your heart, home. Feeling, experiencing that life force that is God within the depths of you. Experiencing that life force that is the love that is within the depths of you. Experiencing that life force that is the peace within the depths of you. Experiencing that life force that is the wisdom in the depths of you. Peace on earth, goodwill toward every human being, every creature. Beautiful. Mm. We will not have spiritual cafe today. We've taken the time for a beautiful candlelighting ceremony. I'm sending Christmas blessings to you all and joy. Just remember that on Christmas morning, those of you who can and wish to, we'll get together in our PJs. We're going to sleep in so that we won't meet until 11 in our PJs, and we're going to tell Christmas jokes and stories and our favorite childhood Christmas memories and sing carols and have hot chocolate or coffee or whatever. That will be Christmas morning at 11 a.m. on Zoom. And then next Sunday is a water bowl ceremony, which TJ Woodward is doing this year. In place of, we normally do a burning bowl where we write all the things we want to release for our higher good. We're going to dissolve it into a bowl of water. So I did send out papers to many of you. I have a few more to deliver on Monday. And so if you did not get the papers, you can use regular paper, but the kind I sent out dissolves more quickly than regular paper. So have a bowl of water available next Sunday and some paper or the paper that I'm sending you. And if you want the papers and you didn't get them from me, let me know and I'll get them to you. So we have lots to come. And then the Sunday after that, January 3rd, will be our white stone ceremony where we go into meditation, and from our soul, from our spirit, we get that which we want to be in the coming year. After the water bowl ceremony, where we let go of what we don't want, then the following Sunday, we'll bring in what we do want for ourselves in the new year through the white stone ceremony. So lots to come still. So I'm treasuring every moment with you all. I invite you to unmute yourself now and say a greeting to everyone.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Merry Christmas.
Christmas.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Happy Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas.
Merry
Christmas, everyone.
Thank you.
Happy birthday, Jesus.
Be sure to stay good.
Oh.
Be sure to be good. No cold for
Happy
anybody.
holidays.
Oh.
No cold.
Okay.
Thank you, Sheila.
You all.
Yes.
Beautiful service, Sheila.
Beautiful.
Beautiful service.
Beautiful service.
Oh, thank
Quite
you.
beautiful.
Nice.
Yes.
All right.
Thank you, Sheila. Merry Christmas.
Thank
Merry
you.
Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Yes.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.